Good afternoon, everyone. This is Julian with ATBT Podcast and the team here. And we are on episode 7. And we've made it here, and we're going to keep hammering through. And today we've got 2 updates and 2 serious topics. One of the updates, we're going back on Brigitte Macron, right? Second, we've got, I'm not going in order, guys. I'm just doing it out here. But second, we got a huge EPA scandal with $20 billion being slushed around, and Joe Biden's name's all over it. And we have another update that we're going to be talking about with Doge. And obviously, you may know, you may not. A lot of findings are being found. A lot of wasteful spending has been found. And lastly, we will start talking about Trump trying to broker peace in the East. So, how's everyone doing?
Good, Brody. How's everybody else?
Great.
Good. Yeah. So, last week and the week before, if you guys watch episode 5 and 6, we talked a little bit about Brigitte Macron. A little bit being an understatement.
Yeah.
And we know some things that you may not. One being, she is a dude. She is a dude.
What?
What? No way.
She is a dude.
A dude.
Someone was saying she was hot the other day, bro.
I did hear something about that.
can't
I
believe
did
somebody
hear.
would say that.
I did hear something about that. That
But
is.
you know what? I know that wasn't me. So you want to get into what else you heard, Miguel? What else did you hear, buddy? Tell me.
I don't know, man. Should I just get into the story because I don't want to expose anybody?
Expose away.
All right, let's just focus on the topic, or else we're gonna be here for fucking 3 hours. All right. So this is basically a story of another president exposed as a theater student who got into power, but this time with direct ties to the Rothschild family. Joseph, if you could pull up that first clip. Yeah, clip number 1. We just get into a little bit more about who Emmanuel Macron was and where he came from, and the people that knew him and what they said about him and all that stuff.
The myth of the writer Macron was definitively debunked by a journalist. Like, they kept saying that he would write these novels and Brigitte would talk about his passion for writing in interviews. Well, essentially, they realized that, nope, that isn't true. None of that is true. And they created this idea of him really just because they wanted the public to believe that he was this genius and that he therefore deserved to be suddenly in the mist as a politician, that he had this background where he was kind of a boy genius. And like I said, that could not be further from the truth. The reality is Emmanuel Macron's real story is more of a fake it till you make it. Okay. If that's how you would say it, fake it till you make it. As we have stressed before, not much is known about his childhood. Okay. It's weird. It just gets very strange. His mother, we now know, was in charge of the gender reassignment program at the Social Security office. His father was a psychiatrist, but according to Veronique, she had no memory of Emmanuel having been around him. His grandmother, Manette, we know, definitely was involved in his childhood. It's the only one he speaks about affectionately or even relates to his childhood in his book. We also know that grandma had a knack for pedophile-centric books. It was grandma's thing. What are you gonna do? She likes these pedophile-centric books. She's just like, hey,
grandma's freaky.
Yeah, that's a
Well,
really cool thing. Let's talk about Andre Gide. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about all of these weird passages. Me and my grandchild's, we share this with one another. Like I said, we learned that he was a bit of a loner. He didn't have many friends. The people that went to school with him didn't even know what his parents did. Well, according to the Wall Street Journal's book, The Calculated Rise of Macron, it was the Rothschild family, the Rothschild bank, that had everything to do with his professional resume.
What a quinky
And
dink.
interestingly enough, Xavier Poussard had discovered.
Huh?
Just saying, bro, it's anti-Semitic.
Say it with your chest.
Oh, my bad. I'm just pointing. I'm just saying. What a quinky dink.
That the bank made an internal error in their documents when they listed Macron, who is supposed to be born in Amiens, as having instead been born in Paris. And they made this error on multiple documents, by the way. I'm going to show you a few of them. And the reality is, of course, this keeps coming up that we are told in the official biography that he's born in Amiens. Then we have
Hold on, where's Amiens? Is that part of France?
That's a good
Ambiance?
fucking question.
Say it again.
Where's our fact checker?
Well,
Fact
I
check,
think
fact check.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, because I know
Okay.
there's Amiens FC soccer club, so I'm assuming that it
go.
is a city.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Because if not, that'll be just like the Obama thing, right? How like people were talking about Obama's birth certificate, and then there's
Oh,
like
yeah.
theories
And,
about Obama not even being an American. He was born somewhere else, and then they falsified all the documents to make it look like he
Hawaii.
was.
that is true.
So
Kamala Harris.
I wouldn't be
Same shit.
surprised. Yeah.
of the former mayor of Amiens who said no, he's what was it, Touquetois, like from Le Touquet area. Now we have the Rothschilds reporting that he's born in Paris, and we just don't know what's real and what's false. Okay, we really don't know.
So the Rothschilds
Okay.
actually went out their way to say where, like he or she was
No,
actually born.
I think that she was going through. She said something about the bank minutes, and I guess obviously your bank has some pieces of information on you, and they're reporting a long time ago saying that he was born in Paris. Meanwhile, other piece of information like his birth certificate or something like that is saying he was born in somewhere else, like La Touquet, like she was saying.
Yeah,
Mm.
but the main thing is he had a connection with them from the very beginning. He was hired by them at 17, I believe, or a very young age, started working at the bank. And then by 32 years old, he became the youngest managing partner in the bank's history, right? And his colleagues that was working at the bank that were there for even longer than him, people, they would make fun of him because he was always a poor technician. He couldn't even do simple calculations, and yet he was like advancing through the ranks, right? And he
Yeah,
knew them personally.
yeah.
So I don't know much about the Rothschilds myself, but have you guys heard anything? Is there anything you guys want to say of stuff that you've heard?
Well, they're the biggest. They own the bank systems around the world. Basically, they started the banking system. So they're pretty huge. I mean, I feel like everybody at this point of time knows a little bit about them. Like at least I've heard the name Rothschild, right?
Yeah, and I pretty much seen that too. They've been around for a long time. They have lots of powers. They have ties to the media and all that stuff. Now, what surprised me was how even Candace was reluctant to dive deep into their involvement because of their tight media ties. Now, she probably didn't dive too deep because, you know, I mean, she's not afraid of being labeled anti-Semitic, but she can get her shit removed, right? And that's why she started making her own website that she just made now. And on a side note, she was supposed to release this on her website, and she announced the date of her release. And then when that day came and she was going to release this stuff, she got a DDoS attack. So they flooded her with like millions of subscribers to the point where
Yes.
like her servers
Yeah.
were bust, right?
Yeah.
So that's why she still posted it on YouTube and all that stuff. But let's play the second clip here where she
In
dives
fact,
a little bit deeper.
Well, that's a pretty good attack to get a bunch of followers. A
Shit,
bunch of people following you, know?
can we not get attacked like that? Like, come on. All right.
the language. That's why I say this reminds me of the Manchurian Candidate. Now, regarding the Rothschilds family, there is so much that I could say here, but I do not want this episode to get hit on YouTube. Suffice it to say, you could look up any of them. The proven ties to Jeffrey Epstein, the various pedophilic and incest scandals which are abound and have surrounded this family. You could look up anything, but know that any journalist who begins to write about this in France has to face anti-Semitism charges, right? You can't, oh gosh, God forbid you actually report on facts pertaining to the Rothschilds family and their empire. What we'll do instead here is leave you with what Xavier Poussard said, because I think he summed it up quite brilliantly regarding the Rothschilds. He wrote, notoriously, the Rothschilds' longevity and preservation of their fortune are based on an extensive practice of endogamy and alliances between cousins, essentially
Interbreeding. Yeah.
At a conference at the
Oh.
Museum of Art History.
That's how that's like one of the things I was about to mention too. That's how they keep their bloodline pure.
Yeah.
So they intermarry cousins, and I don't know how they don't end up with like more retarded kids, you know? But
Apparently they do. They just hide it well because it's all in the family. Right?
maybe yeah.
History, Natalie Reams, David de Rothschild's cousin, went further, declaring, quote, a very common practice in such
I
families.
mean, look at that.
Vice is nice,
Okay.
but incest.
Are you saying she's retarded?
I mean, I don't know what she is, but what does she look like to you? I don't know. Fuck.
I don't know. I hit.
Is best because it stays in the family.
Joseph,
We are simply
you
What?
hit a wall if you
Okay,
could.
let's not bring up what I hit, because what you hit this week, I said hell no. Okay, so let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that.
I didn't hit any fish.
Yeah.
raised to be silent so that nothing comes out. We are brought up with this weight to make sure, and it works, that we never speak out. Xavier concludes by saying words that echo what we encountered throughout our investigation of Brigitte, a family cloistered in silence, zealous to protect a family secret that has become a state affair. And I am telling you, on that closing chapter regarding the Rothschilds and the scandals abound, including scandals that pertain to David de Rothschild, you will want to pick up Xavier Poussard's book, Becoming Brigitte, because what I have given you thus far is truly the tip of the iceberg. I cannot explain to you how many pedophile scandals I have removed from this podcasting, again, because this is on YouTube, so I have to make this as rated G as I possibly can. It cannot continually be the case that these are all just coincidences, okay? There's just way too many coincidences adding up. You can't play the all my homies are pedophiles and trans except for me card. I don't know. I just would feel a little bit weird about that.
But
right?
even if that was the case though, like, why do you continuously choose to have them as friends, even if you're the odd one that's not?
An individual in your life, and you're like, I swear.
Well, that's the
everyone
end of the
around
clip,
me is
pretty much.
involved.
Like I was like, oh yeah, all my friends like to rob people, but I don't. Okay, so why are you still friends with those fucking, like, you know what I'm saying? Like. But I know a bunch of left-sided people are gonna be like not to put, like, you know, like, but like they're gonna be, oh no, but like you can't judge him, he's not doing it. Like, yo, shut up.
Yeah.
Piss me
No,
off, bro.
I just wanted to give credit to the real journalists who figured this out, because Candace is just coming out with it, but it's really that guy that she mentioned, Xavier Poussard, who started this case a while ago. He's not the first journalist, but he was the first guy to really put all the details together and really take his time. He had to move out of the country to pursue this story because he was going through a bunch of attacks, legal attacks, harassments, all that stuff. And he felt like the only way he could get this out to the most people as possible is to contact Candace, which that was a good move on his part. And it's important to hear what he said in this next clip, Joseph, if you want to pull it up, because it just shows you how free speech is becoming a dying concept here and is already dead in many places around the world, especially Europe. You know, and they want to tell you, oh no, speech is free, but it's not free from consequences, right? Well, if your consequence is to silence the person, right? If your consequence is to threaten them, to take their job away, that's not free speech, right? And that's not what at least America stands for, right? That's what one of the things Trump is fighting for right now, even though they're fucking attacking him left, right, and center, right? So it's just something to be aware of. You got that clip?
Yeah, let me pull it up, run up.
Just a couple of minutes of Xavier Poussard, you know, giving his thought process and how he's found his story from the beginning as we wrap up this series.
This is amazing.
Dropped this biography, Brigitte Macron, Emmanuel Macron. There's this unofficial biography that gets dropped about them. And what is the first thing that strikes you as peculiar?
Ce qui était très étrange dans le cas d'Emmanuel Macron,
There was an over-mediatization. The mainstream media decided to very strongly attack the other candidates during the 2017 presidential election, particularly Penelope Fillon, and sort of hail and laud everything surrounding Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte. They were essentially attacking the far right, everyone apart from them. So they tried to paint this picture of Macron as being a sort of Mozart-esque figure, that he was very virtuous and precarious. They began forming a narrative that he had met this woman when he was 17 years old. So this man of great precarious nature, a conqueror, a virtuoso, who no one could resist, essentially just as Mozart was. So the first lie was regarding age. A journalist had compiled a combination of the amount of times it was noted that they initially spun a narrative of him being 17 years old and her being 36. And so it was sort of this brave man, going after the woman he loved at a young age because he was just a daring young chap, so to say. Whereas, in fact, he was 14 at the time and she was 39, which turns it from a brave story into a story of pedophilia and the abuse of a minor. When their real age was brought to light, there were many mechanisms of communication in the play from the couple. They really played on the way the story was brought to the public. It was sort of like Robert De Niro and Dustin Hoffman's movie Wag the Dog, where they used a spin doctor who brought certain messages to the public to distract them from the actual true scandal at hand. But there was a narrative spun of the difference in age being an issue between a man being younger and a woman being of an older age, whereas the difference of age was exactly the same between, for example, Donald Trump and Melania, yet no one batted an eye there. However, the issue is not so much the difference in age, and people sort of jumped on the bandwagon here and said, well, why? It's so unfair how a man with a more advanced age being with a younger woman is not an issue, but the reverse is quite scandalous. But that is not the issue here. It's an issue of the age of Macron at the time when he was 14. So this is clearly the abuse of a minor rather than just having a salacious story.
Yo, not
You
to
can
like.
see just.
What were you
Sorry.
gonna say? No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you can see just by the way he talks, he's a very well, like. How do I want to say? He's well spoken. Just even because you're hearing an overlay, but like just his mannerisms and whatnot, you can tell that he's like a thorough person.
Yes, very detail oriented.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like, I think in general is looked more frowned upon if the girl is the one that's underage than the man. I feel like, I don't know. Would you guys agree with that? I feel like more people would like, if you see a 32-year-old with a 7 or a 16-year-old, it's in society. I feel like people judge it more than if you see like a 29-year-old woman with like a 17-year-old guy. Like, I don't think
that's true, but this is a man on man thing though. But like
yeah. No, but like what he was saying was that like what you can compare their relationship with like Trump and Melania, and what I got from what he was saying was that like people see Trump and Melania and they say it's okay, but then if they were to compare Macron with his wife, then people judge it, and that didn't make sense to me, because I feel like people judge when the woman is the younger one. So and like a lot of people were judging Trump because of the age difference between him and Melania. So I don't know.
Yeah, like he was basically saying how the media was portraying it, right? So that how they were downplaying the whole thing.
Mm.
And basically people that were supportive of Emmanuel Macron's relationship, what they would say, right, to justify the age difference and stuff, even though they were being lied to.
The age difference is whatever if the person is over the age limit. Like if you're over 18, 19 or whatever, it's fine. But the problem is at the time they met, the person was underage. That's what the issue is, and they used the Donald Trump Melania
Yeah,
spoke
they
photo
were
to
old.
downplay to
Mhm.
downplay the issue.
Okay. All right.
Now,
Story of a
respects
different.
to no, that's pretty much it. Now, respects to Xavier, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have another clear-cut example of a theater drama student put into power, just like Trudeau, just like Zelensky, and probably more. You know, there's probably others out there. I wouldn't be surprised. The only difference is in this story, because of the details, like we see a little bit more weirdness, more gayness, more pedophilic nature surrounding those in power behind the scene, and their connection to the Rothschilds, who, it's no doubt they practice interbreeding and keep it within the family.
And that's
Now,
what they tell people. Imagine what they don't.
exactly, right? Now, this is something many people still try to deny to this day, you know, about those guys, right? And what they do and where they came from. But these are the same guys that are pushing and promoting the LGBTQ ideologies around the world, right? So then there's no doubt, like, how can you not make that connection of obviously they're pushing these ideologies to the point where they're like, it's not a stretch now to say that they're trying to make pedophilia okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that people would say before and, be labeled fucking transphobic and all that stuff. And no, it's not about not liking trans people. It's about, opening a small door to one thing that's, and then, now you open the door to everything. And then now you're contradicting yourself and you kind of have to allow the other extreme to be okay. Right. Which we talked about before.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really was interested in about when she's like even talking, like you can tell now she's like she's gaining traction, that like she's got to now protect herself on even how she says things. So she can't be
Yeah.
making statements and all that stuff like that. So she's using other people's words to reinforce the point, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They
It's
will
like she
come after
says,
her.
they're peeling it back layer by layer, but it could get real sticky, right?
All right. Now that pretty much sums up that topic. What's the next one?
Well, I want to talk about something that I just recently was hearing, was that Zelensky is willing to step down if it means peace will be brought. And now that makes my brain start thinking like Zelensky has so much dirt that it's probably he wants out. That's like almost like a cop out, maybe. I don't know.
He's made his
Right?
money, so why not?
Exactly, right? It's an easy no brainer, obviously, if it brings peace. But I'm wondering, where's that coming from? Who's driving that nail to say we want him to step down? And if that's the conversation that Trump is having with Putin, right? You would assume that Putin's making that request. Why? Is it because he's threatened by Zelensky? Is it because Zelensky knows something? Or is there a bigger story to it that maybe they need to remove Zelensky because he's already played his role?
But you just got to
You know what
look
I'm
at the
saying?
timeline. You got to look at the timeline of things. Why, out of all of a sudden, after so many years, he's willing to step down and consider peace? Well, what just happened? Trump
Well,
and Russia and the U.S. met up. They had talks about, bringing an end to the war. They had talks about reestablishing the relationship between Russia and the U.S. So that literally just happened last week.
mhm.
And just to be clear, last week he wasn't willing to step down.
Right?
He
So
just
you got
said
to look at the
today
timeline.
he was willing to step down. Exactly. And like when you look at the events and what transpired, and it really starts to, I mean, you can't say for sure why he wants to step down, but it starts to look sketchy as if like he's trying to, at first he didn't want to step down because he was being requested to, but now things have changed a little bit. And so that he could control it. It's almost like, yo, Zelensky, we want you to leave. He's like, no, I'm not leaving, because he's trying to set up a way where he's like, okay, well, I will leave if you do it like this, so that he looks good on his way out, right? Versus
Yeah.
looking like an idiot, because he has been looking like an idiot, to be honest.
The
Well,
other,
so
I
why?
don't know if you've seen. Yeah,
No, I don't. I
go ahead.
want to know why has he been looking like an idiot? But also too, like, I guess I'm not as educated on the topic because I haven't been reading about it, but I want to know like so I'm assuming Putin is requesting him to step down, or is
No. What happened was after Trump and Putin met up, the European nations met up and had a conference about what they're gonna do about it because they felt threatened that Russia and the U.S. are gonna reestablish relationships. So they had their own meeting to talk about what they're gonna do. And what I'm thinking is they in their meeting they came to a conclusion that they're gonna get Zelensky to step down. So it's not Russia telling Zelensky to step down.
it's the EU?
It's the EU telling Zelensky to step down.
Now, before we start,
Disclaimer,
jumping ahead,
yes.
let's go step by step, right? Now, many people heard the one main version of how this war started, right? What the media is saying, Putin being power hungry, sending
Which
his
is not
people to
it.
die just to take over Ukraine, right?
That's not
the
it.
narrative. But there's another side of the story that says that they were actually provoked, right?
For many
How
years.
there was the Americans interfering with the Ukrainian. Joseph, you just pulled up that next clip.
Yeah.
Because they're basically saying it was America for interfering with the Ukrainian government and provoking Putin to engage in the war by breaking previously set agreements. And I think this goes back to all the way to 2014, I believe.
Oh no.
Play this
It
clip.
goes back even further. Like I have a video of a guy, but
yeah.
Yeah.
The history starts like it's just like Hamas and Israel, right? This is like going on for a really really long time, but apparently from what this guy says in this clip, it shows how the Americans actually started provoking Russia and getting Ukraine to
They took
go
down
behind
Ukraine's
them.
president basically with the help of the U.S. and put Zelensky in office in a way.
Yes, with the USAID, right? That same government agency that got caught and that was being funded, right, to distort and manipulate narratives around the world. They're also involved. So let's see what that guy has to say in the clip because he explains it pretty well.
Just before I play the video though, on your point, I say it goes back like a long time because there was an agreement after the Cold War between Russia and the U.S. Not the U.S., Russia and the United Nations, the EU, that they were not going to expand further into the Russia's territory. What did they do? They started taking countries and bringing them and putting them as part of the EU, right?
You're talking about NATO. You're talking about NATO.
NATO,
EU
yes.
is European Union.
NATO, sorry. And then they started putting more countries in their alliance. Now, Ukraine was one of those countries that is like, if Ukraine does become part of NATO, it's a problem. And they've been violating every year after year they will violate it, and then they will come and agree, be like, okay, we're sorry for violating the terms, but we're gonna actually like follow them now, and then they will break them, and then Russia, like it was like if Russia did that to the U.S., if Russia came and took over, if they took over Cuba, you know how Alaska. It would be a huge thing because they're able to have intelligence in another country's backyard. If they wanted to launch missiles or anything, it wouldn't take much. It would be within 30 minutes, 20 minutes. So that's basically what Ukraine is to Russia and why it became a big deal. It's not about, sure, maybe there's a part of it that it's about taking over Ukraine's resources, but it's also about not having something impend on your country where it makes it accessible.
Running for U.S. Senate in 2014 over in Louisiana, my first political race, and the ending the endless war policy was one of my top 3 planks, and it was wildly popular. So we were calling this out that the American government, led by Victoria Nuland and backed up by money from USAID, that's another term that everybody's heard about recently. And the CIA was mucking around in Ukraine and changing the leadership of the government out. They did it twice. And then all of a sudden in 2022, Putin invades and it's all his fault. Come on, man. The reality is the United States provoked this. We had 12 CIA installations on the border with Russia in Ukraine. That's not a provocation? Oh my goodness. We used USAID to propagandize the population of the Ukraine to get them to come out and protest and support the Nazis that were the essence of those protests coming up against Zelensky there, which is why he flipped from a peace candidate to a war candidate. And he refuses to back off of it. Obviously, he's insulted the president of the United States yesterday, and the president of the United States is doing what Donald Trump does. He's crushing him, and he's going to continue to do that while he's in peace talks with the Russians and Vladimir Putin directly to try to end this killing.
Now, one of the things I have been enjoying is that Trump has given a lot of us license to say what we've been saying all along, is that Zelensky is not a good dude. He's
You can cut it there because there's more clips to come. But yeah, so that's just an example of how they really started pushing the envelope, right? Like you were saying,
Yeah.
they pushed it bit by bit by bit. That's when they really started pushing it, right? And it kind of shows Zelensky's involvement, right? Because at first he wasn't popular. And after I saw that clip, that's when I started asking, okay, so where did Zelensky even come from? Because all I know, and I'm sure you guys heard too, this guy was a comedian. First time I saw him, he was playing the piano with his dick.
Yes.
Right?
That video is fucking weird.
Wait, you're serious?
Yeah, there's a video of him in a talent show type thing.
Yeah.
And he used his penis to play the piano.
Yeah, buddy. No,
that's not much of a fucking talent if you ask me, but okay.
I don't know. Have you ever tried it, bro? It's harder than it looks, man.
Yeah, of course it's gonna be harder than it looks. You've got to be hard to fucking hit the key.
Well, no, you also have to be thin because, like, or if you have a fat, you're hitting triple notes
Multiple
at once.
Keys.
Yeah, you gotta have a thin to hit one key. Like,
oh my god, how do we go down this rabbit hole?
Right? Yeah. So, anyways, as I was looking into it, the first thing is he's a Ukrainian Jew, right?
Ha!
He pursued a career.
What a quinky dink.
He pursued a career in comedy and entertainment. And then with no political experience, out of nowhere, he announced that he would be running for president in 2019. Right?
Like
so
Trudeau.
So
another fucking comedian.
This
or clown
is probably the most. I mean, the Emmanuel Macron story was weird in a sense where it's like fucked up, pedophilic nature and all that stuff. But this one is literally straight out of a movie script or a TV series, which you'll see in this next clip that Joseph's gonna pull up. So it dives deep into the odd background, goes into detail to what he was doing like prior to his decision to run, which is the reason why lots of people believe he's just, another theater puppet that's just acting out what he's told.
Zelensky was a comedian turned actor who had a very successful run in a TV series called Servant of the People, where he played an everyman, a teacher who became president of Ukraine. It now appears that this TV program was itself a political operation run by oligarchs together with Western supporters to turn Zelensky into a figure that could be seen by the Ukrainian people as presidential, given the vacuum of leadership that existed. His series.
Wait. That is some next level, bro. That's some next level brainwash shit. Make him like in the TV show precedent, so people actually kind of start seeing him as a presidential figure. So then later down the line, when you actually make him a president, people are like, you know what, he did pretty good on the show. Why not,
bro? Not only that, but the TV show was called Servant of the People, and his political party was called Servant of the People.
So they propped him up.
Bro.
They use people's subconscious, right? To
predictive programming.
Is there still more stream? Is there still more? Are we still watching?
There's still more.
Okay, let's watch. Sorry, Joe.
Until March of 2018. At that time, his production company, I'm being serious here, registered
Stupid.
servant of the people as a political party, Zelensky's political party. So he literally ran for president in a political party named after the television show that he starred in, where he played a president who came out of nowhere. And
That's
then
amazing.
once he became president, his job was to read from a script written by others. And it got him in trouble in Ukraine because he was not up to the task. Actually, on the eve of the Russian special military operation, Zelensky was one of the most unpopular presidents imaginable. His popularity had collapsed. But then the war came, and a new team of producers and scriptwriters came in and took over the Zelensky show and turned him into a Winston Churchill type figure, the hero of democracy. And they used the war as a background to create this drama, this action-based drama that they sold to the American people, to the Europeans, as a vehicle to bring down Russia. And Zelensky's been reading from a script ever since. But as I say in my article, the production money's run out. The producers have found other shows to produce. The popularity of the show has waned, and it's time to bring an end to this drama. Zelensky's an actor, though, who believes he is the part that he is playing. He's denied a script, and you said, what is he doing? Right now, he's literally ad-libbing, and it's improvisation, and it's not working. He's alienating everybody. He's
That's it, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. for that one.
Wow.
Bro, okay, look.
So-
before we move on, hold on. I just want to say, like, we all have Ukrainian friends, and like, the ones I know specifically, all of us know.
Yeah.
And me personally, bro, back when the war with this was going on, I posted a lot of shit that a lot of Ukrainians did not like. And there's two characters that we all know that like literally stopped talking to me entirely. It like literally hates me. I think since those times, because they argued that I was being insensitive, that I didn't know what I was talking about. And I was like, no, listen, brother, you don't know what you're talking about. You are being brainwashed and being emotionally manipulated into thinking this is the how things have been going on, and you, especially since you're Ukrainian, you're being affected by it. But I'm not the things I'm posting is not because I don't like or fuck with you guys. It's because, especially since I have friends who are Ukrainian, I want you guys to know the truth, right? And ever since those times, they've never talked to me. Like, I've seen them a couple times, they just ignore me because they literally are like so brainwashed by this thing. So I really hope, like, maybe hopefully one day, if one of our Ukrainian friends who maybe are willing to talk and have a like a conversation about this whole thing, their point of view, and if they're willing to listen to a different point of view, it'll be great, bro. Because just the other day I saw one of our friends post like, Donald Trump's a fucking idiot, like he's supporting these people who took over our country, like all this stuff. And it's like, no, you don't understand what's going. It's been 4 years and you still don't understand what's going on.
But this is the thing, because I had a similar experience with that, because at the time I was actually posting a lot about it, and it wasn't like I was just posting facts of historical facts regarding this whole issue, right? The fact that the West did push east, NATO did push east. We did get closer to Ukraine. These guys, by Ukraine wanting to join the EU, we can then install intelligence and stuff at the border 500 kilometers away from Moscow. Like, that's, like, this is history. The problem is, though, you're never going to be able to get your point across to people who are emotionally inflicted directly. Like, I could never put myself in the shoes of a Ukrainian, because guess what? They have family there. They have friends there.
Yeah.
Their houses are getting destroyed. There's a bloodbath. Like, that's what I'm saying. When we have these type of conversations, the only people that actually have a right to say whatever the fuck they want to say regarding this topic is them, because their families are literally being killed, and vice versa. The Russians as well, they're also being hammered as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, and I've had this conversation with close group people in our group, and every time we sat down at the table and we talked, I was like, I start off by first saying I love you, dead ass. Like, I'm not here speaking against you. I have nothing against your people. I have nothing. I'm just gonna speak on the research I've done. But I could never expect you to compromise your beliefs with what I'm about to tell you, because I do understand that you're emotionally directly inflicted by this situation,
Very
right?
well
So
said.
you can't like, at the end of the day, like, as much as of historical facts you may present them, you will never be able to make somebody understand why their father or why their cousin or why their third generation cousin got killed. You will never get your message
No,
across
it's
because
not
somebody
just
died.
like
No,
the
no,
whole point of the whole point of this is not to justify the deaths or the emotional damage they've taken, because obviously, like, I would never expect them to not feel the way they feel, but at the same time, people misinformation is meant to misinform you
Misinform you.
of how things are. And if you keep being misinformed, then you're always going to be supporting the thing that is not meant to be supported, right? Like, a lot of Ukrainians are supporting a system that is actually killing their people. But in the other side of the coin, if they weren't misinformed and they were informed, maybe this would have ended 2 years ago.
You're right, and guess what? We also, like, I personally, and you guys know some of these guys as well. Um, who I've sat down and had this conversation with them, and they fully understood what I was saying, and they actually, to a point, actually agree with everything that's like that to why the reasoning is to why things are happening. They are fully, because they dug deeper. They went like that. They went
Yeah,
deeper
Yeah.
down the hole.
it's
They
about
Sometimes
made
that.
their
it
own
just
research
takes.
for them to change their perspective, because they were exposed to the information, the true information to why things are happening,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I always want to say too, it's like, I'm Romanian, right? So I'm right beside these guys. If something was to happen and something was to go wrong with my family, friends, or that I grew up with at the time, if anything were to happen to these people, there's no amount of facts or things that somebody could tell me to justify their killings, their deaths, right? So yeah. Anyways, I want to leave it with that.
Well said. Well said. Well said for sure. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it takes time. It takes time to one get all the facts. Just like you can see with USAID, it's taken many years to uncover them. The CIA going in there. It's taken many years for that to come to light. And perspectives are always changing on everything. And then at the same time, like you're saying, emotionally inflicted, it's right in the heat of the moment. Um, yeah, but I'd like to see that clip, Joe.
What clip?
That clip that the second one that Miguel was talking about.
Oh, well, we played the second clip, right? We just played the second clip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That pretty much brings me to my next question. I haven't really talked to, fuck many guys personally, so I was gonna ask you guys, like, have they said anything about Zelensky themselves? Like, do they support this guy? And the reason why I'm asking is because, you have Trump on one hand saying that he only has like 4% approval rating, which I don't blame. I mean, if they knew where Zelensky came from and everything we just saw, like, I would be pissed as a Ukrainian and I wouldn't support that. But then you got the other side, right? The media and the people who are following the narrative that is being given to them about Russia, right? And they're saying that, oh no, Ukrainians actually or Zelensky has a 57% approval rating, right? And they're all saying this 57% number. So when I looked deeper into it, I saw that this is coming from the Kiev International Institute of Sociology. And when you look even further into it, you see that this institute, one of its main clients is USAID and the World Health Organization,
What a
right? And these
coincidence.
corrupt, yeah, and these organizations, right? They also companies like the media companies like the BBC, McDonald's, Coca-Cola,
Yeah, I
all this
wouldn't
stuff,
trust
right?
that, man. I feel like the
So
only
it's
people who are justifiably able to say it's the actual people living in Ukraine. Because the people outside of Ukraine and all that stuff, they're just brainwashed by the media.
No,
But
but losing loved
Well,
ones is losing a loved one, losing a family member, or just seeing your people
no,
losing
nothing
their.
about that. I'm just talking about, like, if you support Zelensky or not. The people who are not living within Ukraine are being brainwashed by all the misinformation and all that stuff about Zelensky. But I feel like the people who are actually living in Ukraine in these 4 or 5 years, are dealing with his decision making and who are affected by it, firsthand, they're the ones that can really be like, yeah, like 50% of us actually support him. Like those numbers are the ones that count.
But that's the problem, right? Because that 57% number comes from the people of Ukraine. But the problem is we don't really know
If it's actually
what we
them.
know how it if it's actually them or how it's manipulated because you can manipulate those numbers.
Oh well, yeah.
That institute only asked 1,000 people and they called them by cell phone, right? I don't know how they keep the evidence, if they keep the records and all that stuff. But like I said, it's because you have these organizations that are paid for that come out with the data, it's almost impossible to know for sure. And then you add the fact that there's people emotionally invested and family members dying and stuff, it's like impossible to know the truth. But the fact that Zelensky's whole presidential career pretty much comes from a TV show, like that whole idea and his party and everything. I mean that speaks for itself, and that's true. Now, just so we move on a little bit, we pretty much want to get to okay. So now Trump is trying, like Joseph was saying earlier when we started this, we have Trump meeting with Putin and trying to talk peace deals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Europe doesn't like that.
No,
So
not one bit.
no, so basically, I mean, there was another clip, but just so we could move on, all that clip is saying that the U.S. pretty much has three things that they have to take care of when it comes to the peace deal with Russia and Ukraine. And people don't like how Trump is talking to Russia, right? Because obviously they think Russia's the enemy, but there's no way you're going to get a peace deal without talking to Russia,
Yeah.
right? So the three things they got to look for is one, they got to restore normal diplomatic relations with by adding an ambassador to each of these countries, which Biden took out. So any ambassador that U.S. had in Russia, Biden took out as he was claiming war and claiming as Russia the enemy because Biden was all in for this narrative, right? The Biden administration. Then you have all parties. They need to identify like a win-win situation which is probably more easier for US and Russia, but then you got to add Russia and Ukraine into the mix, right? And because Zelensky is like a puppet, clearly, he doesn't really care too much about Ukraine winning. I think right now he's more worried about himself, right? And he's at the point now where he's willing to give up his like he pretty much has to give up the minerals, right? And the resources they have so that they can get US protection because no one else is willing to put up their military to actually protect Ukraine from Russia, right? The EU is not doing it. And then the last thing is you have to address the geopolitical questions where is there any influence when it comes to Russia's relationship with China, Iran, or North Korea? So the states have to see how they could, create relationships with Russia and benefit Russia in a way that it drives a wedge between their relationships with China and those other countries you mentioned. Because if not, those countries that got closer together because of this war could easily, create their own little party and backstab the states and the EU.
Mm-hmm. I
Right
agree with that.
now, so that's what Trump has to work on, and maybe we'll have an update on this next week when they get more into details and come up with an actual agreement because they haven't. But the one thing that Joseph mentioned, which is true, is that the EU is threatened, really threatened, and they don't care about stopping the war,
They
right?
don't
They're
want
more
to.
threatened about
They don't
they
want
don't want
to.
to stop the war.
No.
They're more threatened that U.S. and Russia create their relationship than people actually dying in the Ukraine. The EU had their own meeting, publicly approving sanctions on Russia. And by the way, we're going to post all of these sources so you could see exactly where we're getting this from. Now, the EU had their own meeting publicly approving more sanctions on Russia. The UK now which isn't part of the EU, is joining in with the largest sanction package they've had against Russia since the beginning of the war. And then just this morning, and this is information coming from Ukraine again, right? So how how much we can trust this information? I mean you really can't trust it that much. But basically, this morning, the capital of Ukraine said that Russia just attacked them overnight with 267 drones, right? Which is the biggest attack that they've had. If you look at the media, they're calling it a slot, like a fucking Russia rained hell on Ukraine. But then when you dig deep, right, you see they mentioned that 138 of the drones were shot down, and apparently 119 of them were lost without any causing any damages, right? So when you add the math, that means only 10 of them actually hit, if they did hit, and there was a total of 4 people injured,
Hmm.
right? So on the headlines, it sounds like Russia it fucking, went crazy on them all of a sudden, even though they're in peace talks, right? But they can't prove that people actually died or that how bad it was. They just put that in the fine print, right? So all people see is, oh, Russia's attacking again. And then right now, out of nowhere, Zelensky flips and says, okay, now I'm ready to resign, but there's only one condition. I'll resign and I'll bring peace because, of course, he wants to pretend like he cares about the Ukrainian people, but only if Ukraine joins NATO. That, right?
They're
That's the
insistent
red
on
line.
this. Wow.
Exactly, which was the whole point from the beginning, which was the red line Russia did not want them to cross, which is what they're crossing. So they're
So
basically saying they're putting it in Russia's court, being like, okay, you want peace, or you the states and Russia, they're saying you want peace, you guys have to join, you have to let us join NATO, right? And obviously, like that's
Russia's
not gonna
never gonna
fucking
agree
work,
to this. Like they're putting
right?
demands. Like Russia's the one that's losing by getting peace. Like Russia could do this for many more years, decades. The ones that
Yeah,
need to get this peace treaty is Ukraine, and yet they have the audacity of demanding things. Especially
But
the
one of the
biggest,
reasons,
especially the biggest thing that Ukraine knows that Russia's never gonna fold on is them joining NATO.
one of the biggest, I'm pretty sure one of the biggest reasons Russia also invaded was, yeah, because Ukraine was going to join the EU, but it's also coming down to those
NATO.
four,
NATO.
sorry, sorry, NATO, um, was because of those four, it's like not, cities, or you know how here's Ontario, Quebec, or whatever, like provinces along the line of the border with
America.
Russia, with Russia, a lot of the populations there was Russian people, right?
yeah,
And a lot of them were being harmed.
yeah,
Apparently, a lot of them, they say this is Russian propaganda, but a lot of those people were being killed, or things happening to them because of the pressure being put by the Ukrainian military, etc. So they also invaded to protect those people. That was some of the things Russia was saying at the time. So what I think could possibly happen in this agreement is Russia takes over those four regions, and then Ukraine would be allowed to um, join NATO. Now, this is a theory that I'm thinking that that's the only way that they might actually be able to pull this off, and this would give more space between NATO alliances and Moscow. Now, this
yeah. I
is
mean,
just a theory.
yeah, and that's definitely possible, but I think like 'cause none of us are Ukrainian, right? None of us I don't think are really Russian. I don't think any of us are trying to pick sides here. I think one side's better than the other. But
Mm-hmm.
the fact of the matter is there's people that want war. This war has been pushed for a fucking long time, right? The only person that's been talking about peace, right, is Trump and now Putin agreeing, right, that they want peace also, right? And I'm sure Ukrainians themselves want peace, right? But they got to realize that someone put their fucking president in power. The EU has to be involved, right? Because they're sanctioning, they're pushing in this war, and it's just, I think you call it warmongers, people that want this war to happen, and they don't give a fuck about the people. And like Joseph said, and Adrian, you made a good point. Yeah, okay, people are emotionally involved, but like Joseph said, if we really care about these people, it's about having that conversation and trying to bring the real information to light and not just going with the fucking misinformation that they're giving you to keep you emotional, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's ever going to happen because they have such control over the media and so much money been invested into this whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where it's like, what can they do to make this thing stop? Because that's why Trump is
It's
pissed
really,
too. Because apparently
yeah,
EU has involvement into something that they're gonna retrieve back for all the investments they made into the war. But
yeah.
Trump's like, yo, we gave him the majority of money, but we're not gonna get anything back. So we're gonna get it back through minerals. So he's making demands now on how the U.S. is gonna be taking back their investments.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean,
if
it's really in God's hands, you know. All right, man. Let's go to the next one though, because we could be on this topic. So the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency under Biden at the time was caught rushing out $20 billion taxpayer dollars because of and right before Trump's inauguration. Uh, Basically, a Biden appointee employee accidentally exposed how it works and what they do with the money. He is basically, and he says it in the video, he is the main implementation administrator of the EPA. So his job is basically to see how much they're laundering or how much they're using, and out of the billions of dollars to prevent fraud, right? But now, because Trump's coming in office, they threw all that shit out the window and they try to get as much money out as possible. So let's just hear him speak here in this clip. And as a note, he doesn't even know he's being recorded. This guy thinks he's on a date and might not even be a guy at all. So let's see what he has to say.
Now we're just having to get the money out as fast as possible before they come in and stop it. It truly feels like we're on the Titanic and we're throwing gold bars off the hatch.
Who are the gold bars going to?
Nonprofits, states, tribes. We gave them the money because it was harder. If it was a government-run program, they could take the money away. If Trump won, and because it was a insurance policy against Trump winning. Until the Trump people come in and tell us we can no longer give out money. I do environmental, climate policy things.
Really?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Is that stuff is here?
I mean, because I do federal government climate things. Well, I have been doing that, but I might change. But
Why?
Nah, bro. This shows that dudes really say anything to get laid, bro. Dudes would literally say anything to get, and he's talking to another dude, but it don't matter, bro. It don't matter. You say whatever you gotta say to get, you know what I'm saying? God.
Are you saying that everybody's got a little bit of that dog in them?
Everybody got a little dog in them. My
He's
boy,
more like a chihuahua. He's more like a chihuahua.
This guy's spilling the whole tea just to get a little something. That's crazy.
Bro, this guy definitely makes $100,000 more, hundreds of $1,000s a year salary. And he's
look at his face.
What I did with the money. And
bro, look at his face.
We're throwing gold bars off of the edge.
Bro.
Keep playing.
I just had to. Oh my god.
So we're going to EPA. So a lot is going to change.
Amazing.
So I do, you know the Inflation Reduction Act? Have you heard of it?
Yes.
Okay, Biden's climate law?
Yes.
Yeah. So I do IRA implementation. I work with Biden appointees. The money that we've given out tens of billions of dollars, over the last year. Over the last year, we've given out probably $50 billion.
$50 million.
Billion with a B.
$50 billion.
Yes, for climate things. So to go work for one of these places, I think would be really cool.
What are the places that you've given them to?
It's only been a few weeks, so it's a little early. But green banks. So they're nonprofit institutions that are making it more financially feasible to build renewables, to do climate projects. I do implementation now. So I do how do you spend $100 billion? How do you make sure that they're the proper, well, until recently, how do you make sure the proper processes are in place to prevent fraud and to prevent abuse and to ensure that we are funding good paying jobs and that sort of stuff. Now it's just how to get the money out as fast as possible before they come in and stop it.
Really?
Yeah.
You can do that?
To an extent, just within reason.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Why not? Because if it's not gonna.
Basically, that's where it all is now. I mean, now it all is it truly feels like we're on the Titanic and we're throwing gold bars off the hatch.
Does it really?
That's crazy. This guy said it feels like we're in the Titanic and we're just fucking throwing the gold bars off.
Yeah. So there's three main things to know what he said. One, the money is for nonprofits, states, and tribes. I mean, I don't know what fucking tribes he's talking about, but I think it's pretty evident, which one you could put there.
The
I'm willing to
satanic
bet
ones.
it's up. Well, yeah. I mean, that's one for
The
sure. But
pedophilic
I was gonna
ones?
say LGBTQ, but fuck yeah, you guys are.
I mean,
You good
aren't they the same? Aren't they like under the same umbrella?
All right.
Of corruption.
I don't know if we can go that far.
I'm
But
sorry.
hey, man, it's
I'm
definitely
sorry. That was out of
possible.
pocket. That was out of pocket. That was out of pocket.
And then later in the video, he says the reason why they're rushing to give the money away is because it'll be much harder for the government to take the money back if they do give it to these other people. Yeah, so with more corruption being exposed, it's bittersweet because we're moving closer to worldwide transparency now, luckily. While at the same time, it makes you wonder how bad it is in other countries and especially our country, right? Because the states, especially now, doesn't even support that shit. Before half of them, here it's like, okay, yeah, maybe we don't support that stuff, but you talk to a lot of older people, they're fucking really much on the fence, and we have much more propaganda over here than over there, right? I mean, we saw that with just the tariff wars and what was going on there, how emotional people are getting, right? People are willing to just spend on Canadian products. They're already bitching about the economy, right? But now there's Trump said something for a tariff war. He's a bad guy. I'm going to spend even more money that I don't have just to prove a fucking point, right? And they're like bought into whatever the fuck the media is saying. Anyways, soon after Trump was in office and the scandal was put to light, there was a new directive in the EPA, a new guy, right? One that didn't exist before, and one that every country should wish to have under any government organization. So play the next clip.
Who's this
This
guy?
guy, he's the new EPA administrator, Lee Zeldin. So he's talking about the new directive that they're going to implement here, which is a directive they're implementing in a lot of different places in the states, and it's something that fuck I wish someone here would speak up and be talking like this. So just play that next clip.
The Climate United Fund. I'm sure you and I now have some of the same questions. How do these organizations decide how to allocate funding? How much money have they given out so far and to whom? Are there any former Biden EPA staffers who are now working at these entities? Let me make one thing abundantly clear. At this point, there is zero reason to suspect any wrongdoing by the bank. Here's my position as EPA administrator. The financial agent agreement with the bank needs to be instantly terminated, and the bank must immediately return all of the gold bars that the Biden administration tossed off the Titanic. EPA needs to reassume responsibility for all of these funds. We will review every penny that has gone out the door. I will be referring this matter to the Inspector General's office and will work with the Justice Department as well. The days of irresponsibly shoveling boatloads of cash to far-left activist groups in the name of environmental justice and climate equity are over. The American public deserves a more transparent and accountable government than what transpired these past 4 years. We take our obligations under the law as seriously as it gets. I've directed my team to find your gold bars, and they found them. Now we will get them back inside of control of government as we pursue next steps. As President Trump has vowed, we are going to usher in a new golden age of American success for the citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed.
Woo! That's my guy right there. Yeah.
That is something
we
I
need,
don't think you'll
bro.
see. Yeah, I don't think you'll see any fucking Canadian politicians saying something like that. Something so basic. It's just crazy, man. Because now they're auditing these agencies, right? Trump is saying like, no, we got to look at these agencies. We got to look at the IRS, and then even the left is still bitching, bro. They're
Yeah.
still complaining. It's insane. It's like, bro, so what? You want the IRS? Like the IRS can audit all of us and get all of our information, right?
And we
Without
can't
us
audit
knowing,
them.
but we can't audit them, like, bro.
They said they were going to audit the Federal Reserve, right?
I'm pretty sure they're auditing everything. They're just making sure they're trying to save as much money as possible, and that kind of brings us to our next topic.
Oh, no, before we go to the next topic, I just a little sidetrack, okay?
Oh my god. No.
Do you think it's fair? You think it's fair that we get taxed on the money we work, right? So, and then they also tax us on everything else when we buy, when we sell, and all that. First question is, do you think that's fair? Second question is, if they gave you an option, either we tax your paycheck or we tax every time you buy.
that's definitely not going to happen. Hopefully under Pierre, he seems like our only fucking hope. But anyways, let's just go into Doge and what they're doing in the States. So about a month ago, they first looked into, well, they're looking into many different agencies, but they found about a month ago that the U.S. recovered $31 million in federal payments to dead people, right? People that did not exist. Now, as Elon Musk's Doge team started digging in more, they started receiving backlash for accessing government's information, the classic. Now, even though Musk's team isn't looking to audit people, right? They're looking to audit the agency themselves. Joseph, if you could pull up that tweet.
Mm-hmm.
So, as people are, tweeting at Elon Musk and, talking all this shit about Trump and everything and about how it's a dictatorship, even though they're trying to do something positive, this is how Elon Musk responded with some facts and receipts that he found himself.
Right.
Bro,
This
I'll
is
read it.
crazy.
Bruh,
This
if
is
I wanted to
insane.
rummage through random personal shit, I could have done that at PayPal. Hello. Having tens of millions of people marked in Social Security as alive when they're definitely dead is a huge problem. Obviously, some of these people would have been alive before America existed as a country. Think about that for a second. I'm
Jesus
confused on
Christ.
so what is this? These are people that they're saying are alive,
This is the
140 year
social.
olds?
Yeah, these are the social insurances that are tied to people who are still alive. Now, mind you, the oldest person in the world right now recorded, it does not go above 120 to 129. But in their records, they have people from 120 to they have 3 almost 3.5 million people between the ages 120 to 129. They got almost 4 million people between the ages of 130 and 134. Another 3.5 between 140 and 149. A million people between the ages of 150 and 159. Where are these people? Where are they? Because they're recorded to be alive. And you know, bro,
people that are living.
the funniest thing that with this whole thing is like the way they are attacking Elon Musk. And I saw a video about this, it makes so much sense. The funniest thing about this is that it's kind of like it's kind of like when you catch your ex, you like a girlfriend catches a boyfriend cheating on her through text, and then the boyfriend gets mad at her not because he got caught, but because she was going through his phone.
Exactly.
That's how they're attacking Elon Musk. It's like, oh, it's like, no, we're not denying about this, but why are you going through our shit? Why are you going through my phone? It's
But
like
also
that. It's
too,
like that's the problem. That's really the problem. That I'm going
What
through
if-
the phone. How about you cheating on me? Isn't that the problem?
Yeah. But
Like this
210 years old? Like
Yeah.
now you're
Look,
now
bro.
you're leading.
No.
now
That's not
you're
even.
leading-
It goes lower.
That's not even the
but
oldest, bro.
Joseph, now you're leading my brain down the
360.
adrenochrome
Oh.
saga. What if these guys are actually this old
These
and they've
are-
just been
yeah.
stuck in the adrenochrome?
These are the shapeshifters.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Bro,
The aliens.
did they even have social insurances 369 years ago? Did they? Was that system even in place?
Now,
Almost
hold on.
400 years ago, bro.
Yeah. Now let's be clear, right? Because the media is coming out basically saying, "Oh, Trump and Musk are misleading people. They're lying to people because they're trying to say that we still pay all of these, older people." First of all, that's not what Elon's saying at all, right? He's not saying that they're still paying them. He's just saying that this is what is recorded in the database. So just to be clear, being listed in the database doesn't mean that they're receiving actual benefits, because there is a policy implemented that stops payments to anyone over the age of 115. So anyone over the age of 115 isn't receiving anything, but it's still a problem because it basically hampers efforts to prevent and detect fraud and misuse, right? So it just allows for whoever does want to pull a scam to do it and to kind of hide themselves under the age of 115, right? Which isn't that hard. Now, this is how they were able to find the millions in federal payments. So, but I looked through a bunch of articles, right, left, right, center, all that stuff. The left is trying to claim that there's no evidence for the chart that he posted, even though it comes directly from the Social Security database, right? I also found, and again, we're posting these sources so you can see for yourself. According to Inspector General reports from previous years, the Social Security Administration knew about this already, obviously, and they weren't mentioning it or addressing the issues publicly, right? So they were cheating on their boyfriend, right? Like Joseph was saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, and they knew about it, right? But now they're upset that Elon's looking.
Yeah.
Now, finally, there are many people trying to downplay the issue by stating the fact. And then, yeah, but when I say many people, it's really like the media. They're coming out and being like, well, actually, when you look at the grand scope of things, 8.6 trillion in $1 trillion in benefits were paid in 2023, 8.6 trillion, and only 72 billion were deemed improper payments. That's less than 1% of total payments. So they're trying to be like, yo, it's not a big deal. It's less than 1%.
It's a mistake. It's a marginal error.
Yeah.
But guess
But it's
what?
like, bro,
That
that's
the
billions.
magnitude
Yeah.
of money that you're talking about can accomplish a lot of very bad and corrupt things, right?
Yes, exactly. And that could be used for good things, and that's people's hard working money, right? That you're taking from people.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's only been a month since, Doge has been looking into things since Trump has been in power. So whether you think it's good or bad, you can't deny that there's been more action and transparency in this 1 month than Biden in fucking 4 years.
I think no any other administration.
Well, that too, right? But
Bro.
like, fuck, you don't want to stretch it too far because they won't even admit the fucking.
You know what
the
this?
fact that Biden was worse.
You know what this makes you think now? If they say there's 3.5 million people between 140 and 149, right? Now, these people are clearly dead, right? They're not alive, but they still recorded as alive. Let's say a person dies when they're in their 60s. But then for whatever reason in the social insurance market, they're still alive.
That's the point.
Doesn't that give the market for selling social insurances to illegal people? Right? Like imagine you're an illegal and you get into the country and you're like, fuck, I need a social insurance, but I'll never get one. Then you find this group and they're like, you know what, bro? We sell social insurances of people who have died but are still in record alive. Here.
In the dark web.
Here. Just give me a little sum.
Yeah, that's
No, it's not. It's not a little sum.
It's not a little sum. I know. But you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just saying.
$20.
I'm just saying. Look at after what age do you start getting pension in the U.S.? Like 65, 70? Right?
I'm not sure. It's
You come here from whatever country, you come illegal, you're never gonna get a social insurance, but you can pay for one and then start getting that pension up till 115 years. Bro, like it's a whole market.
Yep.
It is.
Yep. Now, just to move on, this is what Doge has found and saved so far. Joseph, you could pull up the next article. You don't have to scroll down or anything, but at least give the audience some sort of transparency of where we're finding our stuff. Just to be clear, we're using sources like Ground News, who give you, a bunch of different left, right, against center articles. They kind of break down which articles are more factual than others. So we're not just looking at one side, right? We're looking everywhere. So they found basically estimated 55 billions in savings by canceling or renegotiating leases, contracts, selling assets, canceling grants, finding regulatory savings, right, and all that. Now, some of that includes the USAID that they were talking about earlier, accounting for 6.5 billion in savings, with people upset, right, because they're saying, oh, they're taking away food from people that are starving. But we know very well that most of that money was going to LGBTQ propaganda, transgender surgeries, investments in foreign elections like India, condoms to Hamas, all that shit, right? Now, on top of that, they found 502 million savings so far from the Department of Education, which receives a very high amount of funding compared to other countries. And if you look into the stats, I will also post the source in the description. The states is producing the shittiest results. Also, the Trump administration was able to show and terminate the amount of media funding, which I wish we had here in Canada, that was being paid through the taxpayer dollars. So now people could see that how much money is being subscribed to Bloomberg, Politico, Washington Post, as well as Reuters, AP, and BBC. And obviously, the media is going to deny it. They might even say, "Oh, it's not that much money," but at the end of the day, it's like even a little bit of money is too many. Like the government shouldn't be getting involved, right?
So Miguel, what are they gonna do with the money?
Yeah. So basically, we got another clip here, Joseph. You want to post? It's not the next article, but it's the next clip.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to note this because the media is being called out, for taking taxpayer money, and this is their classic rebuttal. Is the media is being called out for taxpayer money? Yeah, whatever. They're not necessarily lying, right? But they're gaslighting the public with irrelevant truth. So they won't be. So instead of being like, "Oh, it's not true that we're taking this money," right? They'll be like, "Oh, we're not receiving grants. They're just buying subscriptions," right? And then when you look or when you ask them, "Okay, well, how many subscriptions and how much do the subscriptions cost?" They're like, "Oh, we can't give you that information," right? So if someone just doesn't know or doesn't dig deep and they're just looking at headlines, that's how we get all these people basically brainwashed at the end of the day, thinking that Trump and Elon are actual dictators and they need to go. Basically, they're like Hitler. So, anyways, like Julian asked, what are they trying to do with the money? Now they're starting to talk about giving the money back to the people, which is, something, again, I wish was happening here. Let's just play the clip and let Trump speak for himself.
Oh, but we do get money. You didn't get that rebate for the fucking what do you call it? The carbon rebate? Didn't you get that? That was like $1 million each.
Oh yeah, true. I was able to buy my avocados for the month.
I put a down payment on the house, bro. Come on.
That's true.
$200.
Ridiculous.
That he's a seriously high IQ individual. Now, he's got his faults also, I will tell you that. But not too many of them, which is now really waging war on government waste, fraud, and abuse. And
he has his own faults.
They're curbing inflation and saving taxpayers billions and billions of dollars every single day. And there's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the Doge savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt, because the numbers are incredible, Elon. So many billions of dollars, billions, hundreds of billions.
See, 20%.
We're thinking about giving 20% back to the American citizens and 20% down to pay back debt and pay down debt, which is, if you look at value, if it were a real estate balance sheet, the debt is tiny, but we still want to pay it down.
Hold on a second.
We don't look at it as a piece of real estate. It's America. We're going to get it down through.
So you're going to take all of the waste, fraud, and abuse from America that American taxpayers funded. You're going to get it back. Did he just say that?
You can cut it, Joseph. He's just going to repeat it.
911, what's your emergency?
Okay, president. So yeah, I mean, that's the first time you hear any fucking president talking like that. And supposedly, right, we don't know the details yet, but the estimate would be around $5,000 check to each taxpayer from these findings.
Jeez.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but if you didn't want to be the 51st state before, would a $5,000 check change that?
No.
Yes.
I'll take that shit.
No.
I'll take that shit.
Without the $5,000, bro.
You would have to give me that $5,000 and then let me choose. Are you gonna give me an American citizenship? And you're gonna grant me a fucking house. You're gonna give me a fucking land of my choice, where, when, why, and then you can give me the $5,000, and then you can have Canada. But
like,
until that, no.
Julian, I get it, right? Like, most people would agree with you. It's just, if you really look at it, if things were run if we were the 51st state and things were run the way America usually runs things, that doesn't mean they're going to take over our policies and stuff. They have a state by state system. So
No,
we
I
would still have,
understand that.
yeah, we would
Bro,
still
I'll keep
have
it a
our
buck,
own,
bro. I could care less about
culture,
Canada's
laws.
resources and all that stuff. I don't care if the U.S. takes over Canada. It's not. I'm not being benefited by the country. Like the ones that are benefited by the resources that will be taken over by the U.S. are the actual people in power of Canada, which would be the Queen, which would be the Prime Minister. They're the ones that don't want that to happen. But me as a citizen, I could care less what happens to that. I just want a better life for me.
What would you lose if we became the 51st state? Or what are you afraid of losing?
I wouldn't lose
That's my
nothing.
question.
Personally, I wouldn't lose nothing.
Well, okay. Let's just say, okay, so let me just ask you a question, Joseph. You live down at St. Catharines, right?
Yeah.
Close to Hamilton, right? Hamilton's not a pretty place to
question.
Hamilton's not a pretty place to go live in. Now, let's just say we're American citizens. Everybody's got a gun.
Yeah.
You think living in Hamilton will become safer? You
Wait,
think living
no,
there-
you're just under the assumption that it would. We're a state. States can have their own gun laws.
But you have on the Constitution, you have the right to bear arms, right?
Well, that too, yeah. But at
So,
the
but
end of the
and
day,
again, how would you
Bro,
legally?
hold on a sec. Hold on.
wait.
We're opening a whole new can of worms now.
Yeah,
Nah,
I
nah,
don't know.
But I
I'm
don't know.
pro
But it's
guns, bro.
fine. Yeah, because yo, Julian, take it this, and you're right. You answered my question with a question, so let me answer your question with a question.
Okay.
What if our like, okay, let's just say we become the 51st state, or we don't actually, we have our gun laws. Then Trudeau decides, oh, emergency act one more time, right? And now the military is just coming and telling you what to do, kicking you out of your house with guns.
I'd be okay with having a gun at that point. Yes.
How are you gonna protect yourself?
Yeah, without a
What
gun.
if the world turns into a fucking zombie
Yeah.
apocalypse? You know, like
I'd rather have a gun than not have a gun, to be honest. Especially in times like this. Even I don't live in Hamilton, so I have no problem, bro.
That Hamilton one got you, eh?
No, I mean no. You make a great point. Hamilton is a tough place. I would not want to have like
Crackheads
crazy
running around with fucking strapped up.
But then there's also like the accessibility of guns. Canada doesn't make guns. The U.S. does, so it's easier to get guns there for like someone. But I would guess that it would cost like it would cost more for us to get guns here in Canada, even if we're part of
Also-
the U.S.
Bro,
Also,
guns are,
Joe,
like, legally are dirt cheap.
Yeah. Also, too, if we were to become American citizens, you've just instantly became much more broke. You don't have even a fraction. The people in Detroit are making more money than you.
If you have zero, you can't get lower than that, brother, unless you're in debt. So
I only speak broken knees.
I speak of broken knees. Like you can't go with less than zero unless you're in debt. So
You can, in accounting terms, you can go negative for sure.
if you're in debt,
Deficit.
yes. If you're in debt, yes. But if you have you don't owe anything, but you're zero, it's not gonna change, brother.
Yeah,
It's not,
yeah.
you know.
So Julian, you're assuming that if we become the 51st state, we would still have Canadian dollars. That's not true.
No, but your assets would then be translated over, right? So if you had 100,000,
US, so we would
yeah.
gain.
So if you had
We would
100,000 Canadian dollars in the bank, you would have $69,000 now.
Not if they say that 100,000 Canadian dollars is now 100,000 US dollars.
But they don't say it to this day. It's not. It would never. Why would
Well,
they
we're
say that?
not
They'd
the
be giving
51st
you
state.
money for free.
It's an incentive for us to become the 51st state.
That only incentivizes rich Canadians. Even
No,
more
I
so.
didn't
Somebody
incentivize-
who's making $10 million a year, you're gonna tell them no. Now instead of 10 million, you're gonna make 18.
Or yo, somebody's in debt 20,000. Now you're in debt 20,000 American.
No, yes, yeah, exactly. And then think about the people. Think about all the people that we have all this catch and release shit, right? Those guys that have like 60 or 70 things on them. Now you're automatically eligible for death penalty. You know what I'm saying? You're out there walking free. They just scoop you up. Yeah, you're going to the electric chair tomorrow. It's your turn.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I'm saying? There's pros and cons.
No,
Maybe we
no,
gotta do like that guy, put a pros and cons list up.
Yeah, but no, there's lots of specifics that you could work through, right? Like you don't know
That's a
how
lot.
it's gonna
That's
be.
a lot, bro. It would take.
It is a lot.
It would
It is
take
a lot.
more than just one administration term. It would probably take almost like 10 years.
it is a lot, and I don't, it's not that I want to be like, I like Canada and I want to have our own, identity, our own sovereignty, but bro, this is turning into India. Like, what are we doing? Like, is this even Canada anymore? Like, what is
Yeah.
it to be a Canadian? Oh, hockey and lacrosse. Lacrosse is almost non-existent. At least we're good at hockey. Like, thank God. But other than that, what the fuck do we got? A retarded gay ass president.
Yeah.
Prime Minister. Sorry.
And the episode. This guy's ready to go home. What's going on with you,
We're
bro?
just getting started, bro.
We just hit the halfway mark, bro. Like, we still got a minute.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we got the end of.
How long has it been?
We've been recording for about an hour and
40.
Hour 34, 40. Now we just got the reaction clips. That's it.
But okay, I see them here. We only have two.
Do we have time
three
to start? Like, cause I have a clip that kind of relates to this, but I mean,
yeah, put it up.
I want to.
Yeah, I don't want to take time away from your reaction.
And having this burrito sitting in front of me for like 30 minutes.
Ooh, go ahead and eat, brother. Eat,
man. It's all good. Yeah.
Eat, brother. You can see
I don't need to shove my face on camera.
You can see the hunger in your eyes, bro. This guy's looking at it like a.
My guy, I can't catch fish. I gotta fucking eat somehow.
Oh, you haven't eaten for 2 days, right?
Well, obviously, we brought food. I fucking ate, but I'm just saying. Like,
what kind of fish
like
you
said before, Joseph, if I had to get thrown out into the naked wilderness and all this stuff, I'm clearly not catching fucking fish. Okay, I'm taking your method. I'm grabbing the first squirrel I see and just. That's why you see those. You know how you see those squirrels that are missing their tails sometimes?
Yeah.
They're like the hairs.
It's a bunch of homeless guys.
I'm almost catching them. The squirrel hunter.
Yo, what are you, nut girl, bro?
No. I forget how she says her ultimate.
Yeah, I forget. Where are you gonna send the link, Miggy?
I sent it to.
Yo, there's still another topic, or are we going into the reaction videos?
No, we're done. We're done with the topics.
We're going to reaction videos. I just want.
This is actually all gonna be cut out, right, Joe? Because we're just talking.
Sure. I mean, I don't think we should, but yeah, we could.
Yeah, like I wanted you guys to see basically how the other side of the states, and we're talking about hundreds, maybe thousands of people, how they see what's going on with Trump and Elon,
or
what
sell.
they think.
Which one would you choose? So answer the first and then answer the second.
No, it's not fair. Just play the clip. It's one guy giving his opinion. He's standing up to some sort of committee, right? He's trying to be the hero here. He's a football player, maybe.
Then your paycheck, right? So like if they're already taxing me on my paycheck, why are they taxing me on everything else? I would agree with you too. I'd rather than
fortunately tax me on
when I buy or sell.
That's the guy that hops on the field and fucking kicks the ball like maybe 6-7 times in the game.
Yes, like my question is, do you think it's fair that they tax way to downplay his fucking effort? The second question is, which one?
Yeah, this guy has no credibility. Take him out.
All right, paycheck or whenever you buy and sell.
Does not listen, so instead I'm going to take my time to say what MAGA has stood for these past 3 weeks. MAGA stands for trying to erase trans people from existence. So MAGA stands for desegregation and racism. MAGA stands.
Whoa, okay, that's a heavy. That's a heavy. I don't think they're trying to. Because if you say erase, you're talking about like a whole population. I don't think they're trying to erase the people themselves. I think they're trying to erase the idea that it should be like normalized.
Was I right by saying this guy has no credibility?
No. I think he might use this way. If you're not because when you say eradicate people, you're talking about killing those people. And I don't think the government wants to kill those people. The government didn't have enough. I think they just want to.
So they need to bring it in.
Well, he thinks so. He thinks so. Yeah, like I don't think they're trying to kill transgender people. They're just trying to the ideology of transgenderism. I think they're trying to kill that, which is like make it okay for people to think that a guy can be a girl. Like I think they're trying to kill that idea, not the people themselves. Just clarifying, right? Because I wouldn't want. I'm not supporting a government that will kill a whole bunch of people just because of the way they because they're confused. confused. You
Canadians
know,
like
you
to
don't kill
boast,
people
like,
because
oh,
you're
we get free
confused.
healthcare
You
here.
kill their
I'm like,
confusion. It's
yeah,
not
but they
free,
tax
bro.
us
That's
up
what I'm
the
saying.
fucking
It's not
ass.
free.
Yeah, how is it free?
That's why I say
Yeah.
like the first episode we had a conversation about this, and I say I agree
for
with the
censorship
U.S.
and book
thing because
bans.
it's not
MAGA
free.
stands
Our
for
healthcare
firing
is
air
not
traffic
free. It gets
controllers while
taken
playing
out of
our
our.
trash.
have a
MAGA stands
Yeah,
for
take
firing
out
the
of our
people
taxes.
overseeing our nuclear arsenal.
I have a really good
MAGA
thing.
stands
So,
for
one of
firing military
Cassandra's-
veterans and
it's a
those
really
serving
good
them
story.
at the VA,
It's sad, but it's
including
really good.
canceling research
One
on
of
veteran
Cassandra's
suicide.
friends that lives in Whitby.
MAGA stands for cutting
she
funds
was
to
having,
education,
like,
including for
reactions
disabled
to,
children.
like, her body
MAGA
was
is
reacting and
profoundly
there was something wrong.
corrupt,
So she goes to go
unmistakably
see her
anti-democracy,
regular
and most
doctor.
importantly,
Her doctor
MAGA
tries to tell
is
her, "You have
explicitly a Nazi
a
movement.
reaction to
You may have
gluten
replaced
or-
a
yeah,
swastika.
gluten,
Okay.
right?
Now it makes sense. Hold on. Now it makes sense. I thought he was gonna.
it's
I
not.
thought he was
He
with
wouldn't refer her
MAGA,
to
but
go say-
he's
Nobody.
against it.
So
He's
she
against it.
has
Now I
to
get. Now I get why his statement started with
So there's
killing
specific tests that she has
transgenders
to
because he
get
doesn't
done.
understand what the
And-
movement's
and-
about.
and
Okay.
just go, they were pushing
okay,
it
okay,
on,
okay.
pushing it on. That she wasn't.
I know
able
there's
to
gonna
get
be
the
people
help
watching this
up
who are
until
gonna
4
be
years,
confused just like
which
me.
is
so-
recently, like
I
last
was
year.
confused too. Don't worry. Don't
Now,
Because
that's
with
what
the
I'm
red
saying,
hat,
his credibility is
that
shot. And once she
Yeah,
ended up,
his
his credibility is
window.
shot. He's
The
a
proper
punter for
health
fuck's sake. He
care
kicks
she
the fucking
was
ball
asking
once.
for. Now I get what
Lied
you're
by
saying,
doctors
Julian.
and
Now
all
I
stuff,
get.
telling her,
worry.
"This
He's
is what
about,
you
he's
have,
about to
this is what you
dolphin
have."
dive and protest.
Turns out she's got
I will now
cancer all
engage
over her body.
in the time-honored American.
And
This
she
guy
had to
couldn't
go
get
for
10 minutes
surgery,
on
and
field,
she
so he
was
went here to
only
get 30.
supposed
Like-
yeah. This is his 2 minutes of fame.
He's like, fuck it, I won't make it as a
And they
football
went in,
player. so-
They found cancer, like mass lumps everywhere. I think they
Tradition
removed
of peaceful
28
civil disobedience.
tumors. On his liver, on her-
Get the heck!
and they didn't know
Get
how
out!
to- Did he rush them? But it took 4 years.
Unfortunately, it's
for
clear that
her
this
to
council
even
does
get
not-
to that stage
Nah,
of finding out
he
that
went to
no,
do
it's actually
something.
cancer.
No, that's it.
Just
That's
play
it.
and just
That's
play
it.
play
That's
again.
it. It's
No,
done.
he just
If you had
walked up to the
educated
cancer
doctors or you
council
didn't have
like,
people that were
basically
being
making
pushed and
security,
paid
like, take 'em out.
to push products,
Like, put
push
'em in cuffs and
diagnoses
stuff.
to show that
All
MAGA's
stuff.
gonna censor them all. She would have been able to
Bro,
maybe set
that
this
first
back 3
statement
years
was
ago,
so.
4 years earlier.
That first statement
And
was
now she's
crazy.
5%
All right,
chances of it.
I'm a
It's very
Packers
sad
fan,
because
so it's a rare
it's
day
not
when
free
I
here, and
have
it's not even-
when I have
it's not
anything
even
good to say about Vikings players. But
accessible
Chris Clues
to
has
some
always been a
people.
real one who
I
has
get it,
who
rural-
wasn't
rural
afraid to say
Canada,
this
it will
stuff
be a
even while
challenge
he was
because
still in the
geography
NFL.
and
So why is
Bobby
he not in the
Crombie is running
NFL,
for
bro?
that. That's
Why
one
is
of
he
her
not
big
in the
things.
NFL, bro?
I'm gonna get you in touch with the doctor. This is
This masculinity.
But what
This
good
is
it
that is
that
not
you're gonna get me
masculine.
in touch with the schmuck. This is
My
how we use our
God.
no. You don't have this. I'm telling you.
That's not masculinity, bro.
And
That's
not gonna-
misinformation.
And not gonna
That's
information.
right, bro.
What's
Keep
their
going.
what's
$3,000
what's for your best
We
interest,
use
the
our
patient.
privilege. Oh,
And there's no
bro.
free
It's not even a
market.
white
You
person's
can't
name.
go. There's-
This is what a
probably
patriot
shows
looks
better
like.
Oh
doctors
my
and all that.
God.
No, that's what a homeless person looks
Go to the
like.
States and go to a
Like,
private clinic.
what do you
yeah,
mean?
They do have.
I
private
really
clinics
thought he
here.
was homeless at first. I'm
But
not
then
gonna
again,
lie.
You're gonna pay for what you got.
King behavior.
Oh
Yeah,
my
because
God.
kings are really saying stuff
Yeah,
without
at least
fucking
you have an
getting the
option there
knowledge
to get an
first. Like,
insurance
get
company who you
informed.
kind of trust, and you know, you can go
Yourself
to
and I
whatever
like to
doctor you
marginalize
feel
communities.
comfortable
This
with,
is
who
what
can
we
tell
need
the
you to
truth,
do.
but
Amazing
you're
to
stuck
see.
here.
And yeah,
To see that we
honestly,
now have
like, and this
NFL
can tie
punters
into
who are
our
willing to
next
show
topic
more
'cause,
courage
we're finding
than the
corruption and
Democratic
all that
Party
stuff.
in their
And
response
so,
to fascism.
right, like
Appreciate this man. What a legend.
Doge. I think Doge was a great,
Huntington
great
Beach
thing
has
to happen.
been sanctuary
It has to come here to
neo-Nazis and
Canada.
Christian
We need to have some
nationalists.
sort of efficiency
3
scale
cheers for this truth teller.
to measure
Also,
the
I
waste
predict that
and
1K
start
for
trimming the
security
fat.
won't be quite enough.
Yeah.
Nobody's trying to kill this guy, bro.
Yeah.
They just want to shit on him. Him being arrested is a joke.
These
It
look like
taking
fake
3
accounts,
officers to do it even more hilarious.
Nah, man.
More white men going like this.
Can we please go to her account,
Come on,
please?
she
Can we
tried.
please go to her account?
No, we're not
we
gonna
roast her
expose
live?
people. We're not roasting
Roast her
people.
live.
Go to his account, and his account is flooded with people like congratulating him, praising him. Like it's insane.
It's fake. It's gotta be fake, bro.
No, bro. It's
Yo, that's the part that it's not. And you go to work
That's
and
what's
you're talking to
crazy,
these
yeah.
same people, bro.
Yeah, these people are at your work, bro. You just don't talk about this, but I'm telling you.
LMAO. See this? That one brown boy. That one brown boy knows what he's saying.
Men, this is masculinity. And the guy goes, LMFAO. Then the other guy's just like, no, this is actually emotionally weak. Lying.
Yeah.
Gay kickers are never manly.
I guess the comments are gonna roast them for it.
That's why you gotta look at the comments of the comments, because then you get the people.
Finally, bro.
I love how we had 3 emotional rejects immediately disagree, proving you correct. What? This guy's standing in for him. No, those cops are the emotionally weak and you as well. Oh, here we go. Now they don't
Yeah.
like it, so they revert to the name calling.
Yeah, it's just like a bunch of people agreeing with him. It's crazy, bro.
Wow.
That was hilarious. That was hilarious. It's always those fucking people getting like agreed by the fucking people who are also misinformed. Like just that whole sentence, like that's why I had to, even though I thought the guy was with the movement, I had to say something because like his first statement is like MAGA stands for eradicating transgenderism. It's like, no, that's not what it is. But then people will grab that little bit and stick with it and be like, yeah, they want to kill all the transgenders. And it's like, no, bro, they don't want to kill the transgenders. They want to kill their confusion. They want to kill the idea that a man can be a woman, when in reality, it's not true. A man can never be a woman. A woman can never be a man. So when they say they're trying to kill transgenderism ideology, that's what they're saying. They're gonna bring back sense to reality. And tell little boys like, you know what? You may feel like you might be a girl, but it's not. You're not really a little girl. You're a little boy, and you will never be a girl. That's not killing that's not killing the kid. That's killing the idea that he could ever be a woman. He could feel like a woman, right? But that's as far as it will ever go.
We're in a society where you get rewarded for being functionally retarded. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Let's see this next clip.
Ooh, okay. This one,
gotta go.
I have two of these, and they're basically the same, but they have been predictive programming us for a bunch of years. They even came up with a movie about this, and it's about the whole power grid going down.
Fuck would a UFC commentator come out to warn the country? Just watch the shit.
Apparently there was some sort of a warning about the power going out, right?
Yeah. In the U.S., we have 3 grids. All 3 grids are fucked, right? The East and the West and the Texas grids. Power grids shut down. What happens? You can't transport shit, right? You can't get cash. Fuel doesn't get to the gas stations. Food doesn't get to the stores. Heat issues, obviously. Water supplies. They were never built to withstand physical attacks. They certainly were never designed to withstand a cyber attack. And that's where the next big battle's going to be fought. They're going to bring it to the homeland.
Now, didn't Trump just mention this in a speech?
The big problem is we need double the energy we currently have in the United States. Can you imagine? You don't have to hook into the grid, which is old and, could be taken out. If it's taken out, they wouldn't have any electricity.
And now we have another one of his friends literally telling us how and when to prepare.
A couple of things that you need to have on hand would be some type of a water filtration system, a generator, but on top of that, some type of a solar inverter. I would get a Faraday bag to put those generators in, figure out what electronics you think you're actually going to need the most, maybe light, heat, because if the grid goes down, there's not going to be any heat, and it's going to be extremely cold in some places. But another thing people don't think about is tools. Hand tools to be able to increase the infrastructure in your house and protect against the desperation of humanity that's coming.
And when this happens, information is going to be the most powerful resource because nobody's going to know what to do, which is why everybody in my family has one of these. How to build your own water filter. How to make your own solar power system. How to build a water heater because it's the winter time. How to protect your house against intruders. Preserving fuel. A survival garden. All types of shit. This is something that I think every single family should at least have one copy of, but it's already.
All right, now the rest of that is just like, selling on the shit. But what if it does happen, bro? Especially here in Canada, we're fucked if it happens in the winter. We need heat. We need heat or we die. How cold was it over there in the hut that you were in, Julian?
-27.
Saying I need to get that book.
I have that book.
I mean,
I bought it
the
I bought
book,
it like 8 or
yeah,
9
but
months
like,
ago.
it's like this, like they're always predictive programming us into situations. Like I said, they made a movie about this, The Purge, right? We've been, how many purges are they on now? The 5th, the 6th purge, right? And then the next one is not gonna be a movie; it's gonna be IRL, and it's just gonna be documented.
Well, just know, I'm making it through. I might not be able to catch my motherfucking fish.
Well, you got a
but
generator?
I don't have. Bro, I rent a place. I'd be fucking not in living here. I'd be going somewhere.
So you're
else
not
to my
ready,
parents'
bro.
house.
You don't know if you're gonna survive. You don't have a generator. You don't have solar power.
I have.
If
So I
the
don't have
power
solar
goes out
power.
tomorrow, if the power goes out tomorrow, you're good.
My family has a generator, a big one.
It's not your generator.
Oh shit, that scared the fuck out of me. I was like, where the fuck did that come from?
It's not your generator.
No, but my family. Okay, you're gonna say the desperation of humanity. My family's not gonna take me in.
They might
Every
not,
fucking
bro.
son
They
and daughter
might.
for themselves.
They might not. Like you don't. You don't
Maybe
know.
even Cassie won't even protect you. She'll kill me. And
You don't know the ugly side of humanity until the little comforts of life get taken away.
Yeah, Joe, we'll go watch Lord of the Flies. It literally is exactly that.
I don't need to
Exactly
watch a
that.
movie. I could predict the future, bro. I can see what happens. Minus 30 degrees in the house,
Can you
bro.
predict? Can you predict when I'm gonna get what time I'm gonna be able to eat this burrito at?
Maybe like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Bro, just eat it, man. Just eat it.
No, I don't want to stuff my face fucking on camera.
Stuff it, bro, and open to OnlyFans.
Joe,
Alright.
that was good. That was
Right?
a good one.
That was a good one. Link in the button. No, joke. Alright.
Right here, follow below.
So this is PBD also talking about it, and it's crazy because this is all I've been seeing on my For You page this week. It's like it might happen next week. I don't know.
Fuck, you know this shit is getting serious when this billionaire who owns the Yankees is trying to warn us about.
Wait, he
what's
owns the
about to happen.
Yankees?
Yeah, he bought it.
Part of it.
Oh shit.
Check this shit out.
Let's just say the power grid goes out, okay? I'm telling you, it's gonna happen.
I know.
You best just do whatever you can to be ready for it. Some people are maybe saying, well, I don't have the kind of money, you guys got the money, and da-da-da-da. This isn't about money. There's ways of preparing in different ways based on the kind of resources you got. Protect your family, how do you do it? You have to do a little bit of research, a little bit of studying for yourself to find out if that were to happen. Do you have a small generator? Do you have certain things set aside? What other things do you have to protect your family? I do believe it is something worth talking about with your family to be prepared for this, because I think something like this is going to happen next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And by the way, I do believe it's going to be worse than COVID, because at least with COVID, you can stay home, still communicate with others. With this, you stay home. Your internet, security, gate, lights, it's mayhem. Everything's gone, so what do? You just got to be prepared.
Now, when that power grid does go down, the most powerful resource
That could possibly happen.
Yeah, then you got people with illegal guns pulling up to rob you. Julian, what weapon you gonna use?
Yeah.
Little piece.
No license.
My other illegal gun?
Are you gonna fuck him to death, bro? Like,
whoa, chill. That would
Bro,
be.
you can't even fucking fish, bro.
what other gun you talking about, bro?
No comment.
Oh.
We are on live, Joseph. I'm good. Did not.
What? It's
I don't
kick,
have a gun.
bro.
Okay.
It's kick. It's kick. They're not gonna ban us. Anyways,
I gotta get a generator now, bro.
I'm really thinking
I gotta
about.
invest in a generator, not just a generator, filtration system, like you said. But you know what's really more important is, like you said, how are you gonna eat? You're not gonna be able to eat stock. You're gonna have to stockpile food. But like that's why I said my parents' house. You've seen how my parents have a big backyard. You could survive. You need a big garden. Cause think about it, like
Not if someone comes and takes that shit.
well, obviously you're gonna barbed wire your fences. You're gonna put up planks. You're gonna set booby traps. You're
You
gonna
got
be.
that shit?
You're gonna be. I got a lot of stuff. Not all mine, but you know.
I'll be checking, 'cause I need some of that
Well,
shit.
obviously the cozier house is gonna be not off limits to everybody. People can come by and swim and shit.
Swim, bro. I'm trying to get protected, bro. Am I gonna have a room? That's
No,
my question.
You want a room, eh?
Am I gonna have a room or
What
a
do you
bed?
have
I
to
don't
barter?
care.
What do you have to barter? Because money, I
Oh,
don't.
now I gotta sell myself to get a home, bro. We do a podcast together. Like, is that not enough? Is that not enough?
But the podcast would be non-existent.
But we're friends. Is that not enough? Is that
I don't
not
know, bro.
enough, Julian?
I don't know, man.
You gonna let me die? Like, if it was a zombie apocalypse, you wouldn't, like, yeah, we got space for one more.
We got space for 10 more.
All right.
We'll take you all in because eventually we're gonna chop you up and freeze your meat.
Hey, yo. All right. Last one.
Okay. Wait, don't play it.
3 milligram nicotine.
Yeah, go. You're good.
Rest of my life, I will wear a 3 milligram nicotine patch because not only does nicotine cure those diseases,
Yep.
I've actually learned over the last 2 years that every virus on Earth is beaten with nicotine. And I'm talking influenza, I'm talking coronaviruses, measles virus, rabies virus, polio virus, HIV virus. They're all scientific studies confirming that nicotine's the antidote to all of those. You know what I find interesting?
Comet Health now.
Have you guys heard about that?
Damn. Is that true?
Not so. Just to be clear, it's not nicotine in cigarettes, because the thing, nicotine is not the only thing in cigarettes, right? There's jet fuel. There's a bunch of other stuff. They're talking about the nicotine in its pure form, and the reason it works. I'm disclaimer is just what I've read so far, right? I got to do more research into it, but there's receptors in all the cells in your body that bind to nicotine.
Yes, and everything in your body has like receptors, right? And then what happens is stuff has a higher affinity, and they'll replace certain receptors. So, for instance, really cool way with adrenaline, for instance, right? Your nerve endings, your receptors fill, right? You're getting that pain sensory reflex. Adrenaline will have a higher affinity, push those, I forget what the neurotransmitters, like push those things that go into the pocket and cause the reaction for instance, like if someone, like how I jumped right there, right? That reaction of receptor, like that protein went into the receptor and caused that jerk reaction. The nicotine would replace that and would then cause another reaction, which would then be having your body just do like either build some sort of compound or something to fight off these cells, right? Fight off whatever is attacking you, the disease, the virus.
Yes. Okay. So let me read this just to bring it in context. So nicotine in tobacco brings illness and death to millions of people. Yet nicotine in its pure form has the potential to be a valuable pharmaceutical agent. Nicotine fairly specifically binds to the cholinergic nicotinic gating site on chaotic ion channels in receptors throughout the body. This action stimulates the release of a variety of neurotransmitters.
Was right.
Yeah, including especially catecholamines and serotonin.
Can you just put it up?
I have it on my phone. I can't really. I'll pull it up like as a as an overlay later.
So how do you get this in the purest form?
Nicotine patches.
Like a nicotine pouch. So it'd be like buying, like, you know how you can buy pills, vitamin C, vitamin D. It's just
the patches. You can get those patches that you can put on your arm.
Oh, no way.
That's why the guy he starts off by saying, I will wear a nicotine patch for the rest of my life.
The pouches in their mouths, it absorbs it.
Oh, no way.
But anything you put on your skin, it's getting absorbed, right?
But you have to make sure it's like
the way that they came up with it.
You gotta make sure it's just like the pure, like just nicotine, pure. Because like all these little fucking things have more than that.
You can get them at Shoppers Drug Mart, Walmart.
No way.
Yeah, you don't need a prescription. It's over the counter. You can go to any pharmacy.
Yeah, that was just like a little. Did you guys know?
Good tip for the audience.
So he's saying, what that guy's saying, you get one of those, you put those on, you don't catch a cold.
It fights off all the viruses. It stimulates serotonin in your receptors.
No way.
So it helps you improve your body. It fights off, positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, reduces body weight, enhances performance and protection against Parkinson's disease, Tourette disease, Alzheimer's disease, ulcerative colitis, and sleep apnea. The reliability of these effects vary greatly, but justifies the research. So they still got to do a lot more research on it, but it's proven to fight a lot of these things.
Nice.
Yeah. I thought that was a little cool one. A lot of people have like a stigma with nicotine, but in its pure form, it's not bad. It's kind of like Coke, right? Like Coke, processed Coke is not good, but the coca leaves themselves are the farmers put it in their mouth as an energy source. You learn something every day, brother.
Close it up, Joe. You got this.
That's it for today, boys, ladies, and gentlemen. We have finished episode 7. Glad everybody made it to the end. Thank you to the Twitch streamers and the Kick streamers who watched the entirety of this episode. We had a lot of fun. We got informed with a lot of things. We updated on a couple other things that we have talked on before. We will be back for episode 8. Here at Across the Table Talk, we are signing out. Peace.
Easy.